Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm trying to think of fun ideas for more how-to videos because people seem to like those. I have an idea with that pink Schwinn. I didn't bring it to the shop and I'm sitting here and working on this other thing. I'm going to do a video on this other thing. So if you follow my weekly scores videos, you'll know I got this Jeton frame. I didn't want to. It was at the salvage sale. No one else wanted it. I think I ended up talking down to $5. It's not how much it's for sale. It's what I paid for it on a real good deal. Because I have these big dimples, I got it back. I threw in some 650B 42 wheels. It looks good. But it's a $5 frame. I'm sure it's nicer than that. That's why I paid for it. So do I want to spend $800 building up a wheel set for it? Not really. Do I want to spend a bunch of money on the rest of the parts? Not really, but maybe. It's got tubes, Duofort, France. I don't know what that means. One ear. Maybe that means they think these are really high-end nice tubes. Maybe they think they're low-end tubes. One way of telling kind of fast is it doesn't feel too heavy. Maybe this is a nice bike. Maybe these are light tubes. Maybe it's worth putting a bunch of time and energy into. My old Park digital scale. Balance this around. 6 pounds, 13 ounces, so almost 7 pounds. You know, 2 pounds with a fork, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I mean, that's actually kind of light. It's kind of light. Under 7 pounds, frame and fork. Yeah, what's a modern stirring, like 14 pounds, 15 pounds? I mean, ultralight bike is going to be about 6 pounds, maybe slightly, an ultralight steel bike with 6'4", like super high-end lightweight tubes. So this is pretty light, and it has a steel headset on it. Ooh, another thing that can tell us if it's high-endy at all is what size this is. It's old and it's French, so I'm not expecting it to be 27.2. I'm thinking like the 26.2 goes all the way in. 26.0 is really loosey-goosey. Probably 26.2. What size is this guy? It's 56. It's a real good size. Okay. So I decided not to go too nuts. It is missing the top nut. I definitely have some French spacers and extra top nuts if I want to save this headset, so no problem. It's a French bottom bracket thread, I think. I haven't actually checked yet. I'm assuming it is. Everything else on this is French. I do have like a Velo Orange French bottom bracket I could put in. I do have a vintage Stronglight Competition, which is probably nicer than I want to put in. Depends on the cranks, I guess. If I have some little French cranks on, I might use that. If I use some Japanese cranks, I might use that. Why am I considering using Japanese cranks? So this is the wheel and tire from the Home Mechanic Syndrome video I did. I told the customer the wheels are junk and I wouldn't touch them. I just knew every spoke would be frozen and break. The back wheel was so out of round and out of true. Well, so I got new wheels built. Except these are junk. They ride like, they're sketchy, out around, out of true. Nice new stoic wheels build. Dynamo front hub, Ultegra 10-speed rear. Put these up on Facebook for $20 and like another $10 for the tires. It's probably what they're worth. So I spent the last couple of hours playing with this wheel, completely detensioned it, completely brought the tension back up evenly, trued it, spent way too much time on it, and it is not perfect, but very acceptable. I think a lot of mechanics think that 3 millimeters out is acceptable, which I think is crazy. I think like 1. That's only in high-end stuff. This is definitely less than 3 millimeters out now, round and true. It is pretty nice. It's not perfect. It's got like no brake wear. It's not a very flat rim surface. The brake pad's gonna wear weird. So I did it. I rounded and trued it perfectly, and then I redished it over because I just wanted to do it like a front wheel so I can get the tension all the way on to see if I can get it around before I start dishing it, before I start making the tension on this side so low and the tension on this side so high. That's a good point. Let's check and see where this thing ended up. 25. 24. Okay, that's about where it was before. This side has had a lot of problems with stuff being a lot of 10s and 16s and 19s. Yeah, so this is all back to 16. Oh, that's 19. I might go through and do a little more truing. I don't need a 16 on two sides and a 19 in the middle. I might be able to lower that 19 a little bit and raise the two 16s a little bit. Also, this wheel is spaced like 126. The frame is still spaced 120. You can see there's a big nut and a gap. I could probably pull 4 or 5 mils out of this side, not just the drive side, like pull a spacer out, maybe, to open this thing up and see what that spacer looks like, see what other vendor spacers I have, and maybe still have it clear the frame and clear the chain and all that stuff, and like not sink this nut completely in. You don't want the freewheel to be like touching the frame. You could do all that, sink this in 4 or 5 millimeters on the side and have it be like a 121 or 122 to the 120, and then it'll fit and it'll slide in. It won't be too big of a deal. And that would let me pull the dish back out this way a little bit, be able to raise the tension on the outside, which is pretty dang low, lower the tension a little bit on the inside, which is pretty dang high. So I think that's what I want to do. I did that video on cranks and chainring teeth the other day. I really want to do a video on freewheel teeth because it's totally different. So maybe this will be how to save these old wheels. First start on this bike and build it up with nothing but parts I have in the shop. I'm not going to spend any extra money on it, no matter how bad I want to. We're going to get it up and riding and done. 650B conversion, $0. I said 30 for the wheels, but the customer's actually going to trade me. I'm going to do a whole bunch more labor on his bike again. So knock 30 bucks off. And they're already in the shop now the time I decided this, because I got the wheels basically. So they don't count. So I do have... So if you see behind me, this is a wall O parts I collect. A lot of stuff from Sunday salvage sales, a lot of stuff from swap meets, a lot of stuff I pulled off dead frames, or sometimes, you know, customers will have me do a bunch of upgrades to their bike and just want to leave all their old junk, and it goes in there. And I love old junk. I love old junk because it's not really worth anything, and because it's totally functional and wonderful. You can build really nice, well-functioning, nice riding bikes out of other people's scruffy, uncool, discarded parts for $1, $5, or $10 per part out of someone's used parts bin, like a shop that still deals with used stuff, or your friend, or a guy on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. Instead of going, like, I love Velo Orange, I love their stuff, it's real pretty, but do I want to go to Velo Orange and spend $800 on every single bike I work on to get really nice new shiny fenders and fancy cranks and, you know, all the cool stuff? Sometimes. My handmade bikes, yeah, I want to do all new stuff mostly, new old stock. On this bike, the paint's not perfect. It's an old bike. It's a little scruffs. I can get away with matching scruffy. Sometimes I like to do this. Sometimes I get a bike just crusty, the paint's all beat and chipped, and there's little rust speckles everywhere, and it's all scruffy. I love that, because then I can get really scruffy parts and and it sort of matches, and do a really fun, really beater bike build with like really nice, like Nova Record or Dior XT derailleurs or something, but they're scruffy, but like they're not worn out, they still ship great. So that is very fun to do. Little low-key or sleeper build, the hot rod guys call them. Use an old station wagon and put like, you know, a $20,000 motor and transmission rear end into it. Huge brakes, but like on a body that's nothing special. So I think I'm gonna do it. The only problem is I have some French stems, I got some bars, I think I have enough stuff. The 650B conversion needs a wider, longer brake. I had a real scruffy set of Tektros, so they'd be a little modern, so I could definitely go with some modern Japanese parts and mismatch and be like, whatever. But of course, Curtis has been doing a zillion 650B conversions, and I showed him, he keeps buying all of my parts. I had 2 brake sets that would be perfect for this, and he's bought them both in the last couple weeks. I think I might have another one that's really, really nice. But whatever, I guess I might use them. The right thing, the cool thing to get old Mayfac Raids, which is like the Mayfac Racer, like the most common ever center pole, old Frenchy brake that you see it everywhere on everything. Let's show them off. So the most common thing on the old French bikes with these Mayfac Racers, very cool, center pole, old Frenchy, very unadjustable for pad toe-in and stuff, very squealy. They made a Raid version of this, which is for 650B, which is quite a bit wider and a lot longer. But the Raids are worth top dollar. There's some on eBay for like 160 plus like 40 shipping, you know, from France or wherever. I have one polished one on that display right there. Everybody always wants racers. I tried to buy a set from a guy in France the other day, but it wouldn't charge me real shipping. It would only charge me like 13 euros for like local shipping. He's like, I can't. It's gonna be like $70 to ship to the US or something with tariffs and all the things. So I just canceled the order. Wish I had some sitting around, but they're almost too valuable for this bike that I'm building for super cheap. So I might have to go with the Tektros. It's gonna get a little bit modern-y. Be a little modern-y. So maybe we'll go with Velour in the bottom bracket. Tektro brakes. All these old French bikes usually have a 22 millimeter stem instead of a 22.2. So all the high-end old French bikes have to use a French stem. You cannot get a Japanese or Nitto, you know, anything modern in it at all. On a lot of the lower end ones, things are a little sloppy and lax at the factory, and a 22.2 will slide right in. So let's see that. All right, I got a couple of modern-y stems. Look at this ugly beast. It's a 22.2. Oh, not a chance. Uh-oh. It's old Nitto. Well, no. Slides in a tiny bit, and no. I mean, I do have some reaming tools. We could have reamed this out very gently and be totally fine. Here's an old Frenchie. Oh, even this old Frenchie's kind of tight. Ugh. Here's another old French stem. That's good. It's a little tight. So yeah, this is maybe this is a higher end bike. If anyone out there knows their weird old Jetons, because this old French stem fits tight. It's machined correctly. Maybe I will use some old French cranks. I got a zillion. I don't know, but what I really need to do, start on these wheels. Got the front wheel in the stand. I just took a little bit of Tri-Flow. This is the only chain lube I like. It smells like banana runts, which is fun, and it's waterproof. And everyone's trying to sell you dry lube and fancy lubes, and none of them are waterproof. We live in Oregon, it rains all the time. No, that's for race bikes, for single stages. That's for professionals. It's not for your average guy who's just commuting around and doing some slow, small rides and running some errands. So I like to take the lube and drop a little bit on the very top where the spoke goes into the nipple, and a little bit on the bottom where the nipple goes into the rim. Usually spin, this does not look like it's soaking in yet. I usually spin the wheel for a while. Some centrifugal force can get it in. But while we're doing that, I'm going to take this freewheel off of this hub, see if I can change out that drive side spacer to make this wheel more like 120 and still fit the freewheel back on. I did look at this freewheel. I looked at all the teeth, and it does not look too bad. Like one of the teeth, like about here, kind of right in the middle, has a little bit more wear than the rest. The rest aren't really worn across, and I should talk about that. So the face, not like the outside where you look, but the face where the chain actually rubs across. This thing is like cast, stamped steel. You can see all the rough marks from the cutting. It's all textured and rough, and sometimes even a seam. You want to be able to see all that around the whole tooth. As it wears and wears and wears, that'll get more polished and more polished and more polished. You get a nice polish spot right in the middle of the tooth, and then as it keeps wearing and wearing and wearing, that polish spot goes all the way up to the top and then over the top. Once it's over the top, once it's up to the top, you're like, maybe it'll hold a new chain, bro, maybe. Once it starts wearing over the top, it's not a real sharp up and top, it's probably not going to hold the chain. It's probably new freewheel time. And you see that a lot with little freewheels, you'll get them, and every single tooth, that's almost brand new, that's almost brand new, that's almost brand new, and that one's insanely worn out and dead. People usually ride in 1 or 2 or 3 gears, so you'll find a cluster of dead cogs with a bunch of nice cogs. No idea where you left off, talking about how to tell if freewheels are dead. Because it's real common for people to just ride in 1 gear and never shift ever. Just ride the bike right into the ground, never take it to a shop, just ride like that. 5 years. So I'm going to do it. The first thing I'm going to do is get this wheel out of here, soak in lube. This wheel's not too bad. It'd be so funny about the bad one came out really magically easy, and the not bad one was a nightmare. So we'll see. Shimano freewheel tool. I think this is the right tool. There are so many that look so similar and are not. Yay! So it slides over the axle and all the lock nuts, gets in these teeth. It is the Part Tools FR1? FR1. Freewheels can be a brat. Ugh. So this goes into the freewheel tool. The vise is holding the freewheel tool. I'm going to use the whole wheel. Now sometimes on old wheels, the freewheel comes right off. Sometimes on old wheels, you bend and break the wheel and you cannot get the freewheel off. I'm spinning it while gently lifting up. And there it is. She is relaxed. Now look at this. So these are sealed cartridge bearings, so they're not cones. But it's like a cone style lock nut with 2 wrench flats. And then a big old, hugely massive black spacer, and then a lock nut again. So there's that caliper I got for free. And I haven't used it before, it's just sitting here. There's definitely centimeters up there, so that's 15 mil. Okay, that makes more sense. 15 mils. So I really want one that's more like 10 mils. Here's my giant, tiny bin of excellence and spacers. I got a bunch of brand new Wheels Manufacturing ones. These are so expensive. I think I charge $3 or $4 a piece for them now for a spacer. So I grab up all the ones I find at people's hardware bins, swap meets in the junk pile. People buy a whole bag and use like 2. It's a couple old, cool, crusty ones. The 2 of them together are like 11. I did measure this up. I did. So Park used to make a cool caliper like this in black that came with the dropout alignment tools. They're impossible to find. No one makes them anymore. This is like a weird one. I found like a little kid's like compass, sketch drawing set. Whatever. It works. It's like just so flimsy and aluminum and gentle. So I'm putting on the outside of both of these lock nuts and then carefully bring it out so I don't knock it out of true. Here's one of my favorite tools, the Park spoke ruler. This thing's heaven. It's got millimeters on it. 126. 126. I want to make it 120, so I want to remove 6 mils. The spacer in this hub is 15, so I'd like to have about 9 left. 9 or 10, probably be fine. These guys, again, are 11, so that's more than I want. This guy, again, it's kind of like just over 10. It's a little dirty though. So maybe there's something else cool in here. Here's a couple of just black ones. Black steel spacers. It is just under 10. I think we're gonna try these 2 black steel spacers. All right, so I got this dude. I could put this in a hub axle vise. I know I have a bunch. Oh, here's one right here. I know that'd be the easier way of doing it and showing it on camera. I usually just sort of fight everything with my hands and on the bench, but I'm also going to spin this axle. Sometimes axles come loose because they're slightly bent. So you spin it in your hand, the axle lined up against something in the horizon. You can see the axle every time it goes around goes roo, 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 roo. In that case, you usually find the most up bent spot. Put it like here, put the nut back on, whack it with a hammer. Spin it and check it, whack it with a hammer, spin it and check it. Try to get this thing straight again. Because a loose axle will always make a tight spot on the cone as it goes around, will always cause this to come loose. This was loose, so I was a little worried about it. So I just tightened it. Like a fool, thinking I'd skip this whole step, and then I realized it's the wrong spacing. Alright, so taking this nut and washer all the way off. The exciting world of working on bikes is a lot of twisting something way down a fine thread on a cone or an axle or who knows what. That's coming off. Big 15 mil spacer's coming off. I'm gonna wipe down this lip, just make sure there's no dirt on it. A little dirt will act like a teeter-totter. You'll trying to put something together all clean. There's one little dirt spot making it all high. Alright, got that spacer on. Got this spacer on. Boom, boom, boom. Wipe that off just in case too. One little millimeter spacer that came with it, which this over axle lock nut. Come on, baby. And then we're gonna put the freewheel back on, and then we'll see if it sticks out far enough. Also, this axle's not gonna stick out way too far on this side. So I might just leave it and not care. If it really bugs me, I will take it to the grinder and just grind down a few mils. Or you can loosen this side too and thread the whole axle in 4 or 5 mils so that both sides stick out like 5 mils too long. At least it'll look uniform and even. So we got the opciones. 15 mil cone wrench to hold the cone, 17 mil wrench to tighten down the axle. The axle nut should be tightened into that cone. Hub has no play, it still spins smooth. This was regular cup and cone bearings. This is usually a little bit more work, trying to get that bearing adjustment just right. So if I hold this jerk up, it at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 speeds. 6-speed Shimano. A 120 space hub. It probably shouldn't actually work. Probably sticks out too far. I should really very much put a 5-speed freewheel on here. I think you can get some Suntour 6-speed narrow freewheels to work on some 120 space stuff. 6-speed Shimano, normal 6-speed spacing stuff, not really. I looked around, I only found 2 5-speed freewheels. I probably got some at home. I probably have some in my dirty box. Stuff needs to be cleaned and inspected. So I have one really big, really cool old Suntour 5-speed one, but it is being saved for the Allegro project, which I need to get to and should be working on instead of starting a new project. But I did find this one Suntour freewheel. Yeah, it looks real low miles. It's kind of big, it's not super big. So it's like a 1530. If it was a 32 or even bigger, it'd be better. I'll probably end up going Japanese cranks, and I'll probably do a compact, do some really small interchainring or something. We'll do something, because I don't know about you, but I basically need 1-to-1 gears to be able to ride a bike. Did I even use the axle vise? I don't even remember if I pulled this all apart and I didn't use the axle vise. I don't use a lot of tools correctly. The axle vise is like a little threaded thing. You can stick in your vise, grab your axle, and it most likely won't mangle your threads. Fresh grease on these threads, because we're good people. We want this freewheel to come off again someday, in case there's any problems. 5 speeds. Suntour. Now, some old stuff doesn't play well with other old stuff, so we need to make sure this will actually thread on and not hit like this lock nut. This lock nut could be too old and too big. It's very tight in there, but it's working. Threads on, the whole axle nut is still sticking out. Perfection. Now in theory, you should tighten down your freewheel. Here's your Suntour 2-pronged freewheel tool. Gently tighten down. But also when you get on the bike and go stomp on or stand on the pedals for the first time, the chain will tighten it. Take it out of the axle tool. Someone put some like kind of serrated washers in here to grab the dropouts a little tighter, and these wheels have slipped in the past. It's fine with me, I'll keep on using them. Come on. Okay, and this side is going to be 5 millimeters long. 5 millimeters is not that much. If this is a show bike or something real fancy, or I really cared, I'd recenter this axle. Ooh, it's going to be a lot more than 5. I have like 2 or 3 on this side, and we're going to have like a centimeter on this side. Yee! Try and convince myself I don't care. Alright, now let's show you a little something about wheel dishing. Now I changed the hub space. The hub is no longer centered. The hub is no longer centered because now the center is in a different spot. So this tool touches the rim on both sides, and the center touches that outside lock nut. You don't want to touch on the axle itself, because that can be different, be off. So get the lock nut, come to the other side, and put it on, and now I can't even get on the lock nut I'm down like 4 or 5 millimeters. So let's reset it to this side. Let's turn on the lock nut, push it down, adjust it. Come over to this side, on the rims, and you can see 6, 7 millimeters. I am way out. I need this wheel to fit Betor. I need to make up that difference. I want it to be the same on both sides. So I need to suck the rim this way. So the way that we dish a wheel, we know we gotta come this way, we will loosen all the spokes on this side, just like a quarter turn, half turn for a big gap like this. It'll come tighten all the spokes on this side, that's the same half turn. That means they're physically gonna walk the wheel over. Spokes on this side get shorter, spokes on this side get longer. And that should kind of recenter it. And we'll check it again, do it again, the whole thing. Okay, so we are loosening all the spokes on this side, so you need to keep track of what you're doing. It's really to get lost on a wheel like this, so I'm gonna go to the valve hole. So I have a starting point. I also use a lot of these old spokey dokes and charms and clip on a spoke if you find a trouble one or want to know where you're starting or leaving off. Someone comes and stops me and asks me a question. I'll clip this on so I know where I left off. Loosening this side. So imagine using a screwdriver, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. If you're trying to do it from this side, you're imagining it wrong. Try and go righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, you go backwards. So loosening this side, I'm going this way. So I'm going to start on just the spokes on this side. So I'm skipping all the ones that go to that side. I used to kind of do like tighten this one, loosen that one, tighten this one. It's easy to get lost. This way is easier. So here, this one's the wrong side, this one's to my side. So I'm gonna go loose. I'm gonna go a half a turn because that's a big, giant gap. So I'm just gonna turn the spoke wrench all the way around 1/2 turn. That's not exactly perfect. It doesn't matter too much, so we'll do a little more truing at the very end to make sure everything's still right where we want it. This will be a little bit different. So half turn, half turn. Everyone just on this side, so basically every other one. Okay, I'm back at the valve hole, so that was everyone on this side, a half a turn looser. Now just to keep it easier, I will flip the wheel. I can try and remember which side I'm working on. I can do all this stuff, or I can just always flip the wheel. Doesn't matter at all. Find a spoke hole, and now every side on this one, we want a half a turn tighter. And righty-tighty, starting right here. Starting with the nipple wrench right here, so I want to end all the way around the nipple wrench right here. Not doing quarter turns. Righty-tighty, righty-tighty. And now I'm adding some more tension back into this side like it needs. Taking some tension off of the other side like it needs. Very exciting. All right, that is all of them. Tighten this down. They usually do a little round and truing at each one of these steps. Yeah, it's a little bit out. You're just guesstimating a half a turn, so you can hear that. This one spot is a little bit tight. It's right at this nipple. So I will usually loosen this nipple a little bit. And I might tighten the two matching ones. Either they're parallel, so that's a matched pair, so I might tighten these guys a little bit as well. You never really want to do the ones that cross. That's not a matched pair. You want to do the parallel ones, not the crossing ones. Here's my problem spot. It's got lots of black brake marks on it. So this whole spot I wanted to be out around, egg-shaped up. I wanted to be high. So I really wanted to keep these spokes all a little bit looser than the rest. Try and bring this whole thing down. But it wants to pull right here, so the two matched pairs, we can loosen the two matched pairs slightly. No, tighten the two matched pairs slightly. Pulling away from the spoke. And I'll loosen the one in the middle. A little out. I got a big high spot on the other side. It's real close. Just work out. There's one high spot on this side. Old rims are kind of a little bit dented and wavy, and so one side might look like it's got a big low spot, the other side might be totally fine. touching on this spoke to this spoke, match pair, and a little bit beyond. Right in between. I feel like this one was in between before too, right at the valve hole. So I'm going to tighten, no, I'm going to loosen, I'm going to loosen this match pair right where it's tight. Just a little. It's not perfect, but it's real close for checking. That half a turn gave us several millimeters on this side. Still a much larger gap on this side, so we still need to come to this side. Wait, am I doing this wrong? Yeah, much larger gap on the drive side. So the rim still needs to come down this way. So we're gonna loosen the drive side another half a turn, and then tighten the non-drive side another half a turn. Check back with you in a minute. This is long and boring. All right, I added that extra layer of tension. So it's the same thing, just a half a turn loosening, and half a turn tightening on the other side. And now I have like a 1 millimeter gap on this side. And it touches perfectly on this side. 1 millimeter gap. So I want it to come, so I went a little too far. I want it to come back to the drive side by like a half of a millimeter. I probably can't do it. If I went around and even just did the tiniest little quarter turns all the way around, I think that would pull it too far. So instead of that, I'm gonna do my rounding and truing. I'm just gonna try and always tighten to the drive side. We're also gonna go through and squeeze all the match pairs of spokes. Make sure there's not any binding, kinking, anything at the crosses, anything's not seated right. Usually just go around like 11 or 12 times. That'll get any of that tension out so we can bring it back to this old truing tool. So here is it's hitting on this side. I'm just gonna do like a quarter turn. You really do want to try and keep your turns similar. Full half turn, full quarter turn, maybe little eighths at the very end. If you just do little random turns all over the place, the whole wheel is going to be, instead of being round and true, it's going to go, like it's just impossible to get right. And this poor old wheel, one little spot, this poor old wheel is old. I usually like to do all the match pairs, but we're really towards the end. I'm really 2 millimeters out. One little. Okay, so this one's all the way across like 3 spokes, so I could tighten these match pairs like an eighth. Sometimes you'll find one annoying spot and it's right at the seam where the rim's pinned together or welded together. There's really nothing you can do. If the seam is the worst spot, that's it. You can just fight it all day long, but it's welded slightly crooked. There's nothing you can do. Looks pretty good. It's just that seam spot, which is usually the worst spot if you're lucky. And now I'm doing the underside, so you can see this round. About 1 millimeter away. It barely hits like at the seam, maybe a couple of spots. Yeah, that's the seam. Seems a little high. But I like to go all the way up a little bit more so it scrapes the whole way around, trying to find any giant low spots. Or high spots, I guess. Yeah, it's just a little dent. It's the seam. Because this thing was so egg-shaped before. I mean like a centimeter. So really going through and re-evening it and retensioning it has brought that whole centimeter out. It's just like a whole bunch of spokes were way too tight on this side. So it just kind of sucked the whole thing out of shape. This thing's, it's fine. It's fine. It's never getting better than this. It's 50-year-old wheel. It was on a mountain bike. So it is now, in theory, dished correctly and round enough and true enough. In theory, 120 spaced. Woohoo! She is! Easy peasy. Gosh, it might be like 119 spaced. Lol. now fits, and that's difficult. There's going to be a lot of axle sticking out. There's going to be a lot of axle sticking out. Do I want to be a sociopath and move the whole axle down a bunch of millimeters? Or just have a little bit stick out. I don't care. A little sticks out's fine. If it bugs me, I'll grind it off or move it later. It's fine. I'm trying to make everything a show bike. Everything is not a show bike. It's old. I bet there'll be a few other kind of fugly things we do on this bike. So that is redishing a wheel. Not something you always do, but it's definitely something you do sometimes, especially they'll use stuff. There's a lot of old bikes that are 120 spaced, a lot of French stuff 122, 124, then 126, then 130 came into play. Oh yeah. My hands are so greasy. I'm gonna just put this in for fun. Ooh, it sticks out so far. This side doesn't stick out at all. Probably gonna respace that axle. Instead of showing you, which would be long and tedious, I'll just tell you what I'll do. I'm gonna loosen the cone and lock nut on this side. Thread it down half this distance and measure this. It's like a centimeter, so I'm gonna thread it down about 5 mils, and I'm gonna loosen the cone, lock it on this side. Thread them down about 5 mils. Then retighten them up. If I do this wrong at all, it'll mess up the dish again. We might have to play with it some more. So hopefully I won't. Maybe I'll just let it stick out. Freewheel clears, got just barely. Even this 5-speed freewheel barely clears. This whole tube is not relieved at all. I'm going to see if I can save this front wheel off camera, and I'm going to put the tires and tubes on, and then maybe we'll play with those brakes just to see if I'm crazy or not. What a fool am I? I pull this whole wheel apart, took the freewheel back off, loosen all these guys up, loosen to a 5mm gap so I can thread it this way. This axle isn't threaded all the way through. This axle's only threaded on the parts that are visible, sticking out of the hub. It's a solid bar in there. So if I try and move it down, you'll have some play at this bearing. It's like machined to be pressed into this size hub instead of being like a lot of Shimano ones aren't threaded all the way through. They're threaded most of the way, so you can move them a lot. The Suzu one, steel cartridge bearing, nope, it's sitting in its home. There will be no readjusting this axle. So if I want to do anything, I'm going to have to cut this extra 5 mils off of this side. Wah, 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 wah. Didn't see that come on old Suzu seal bearing hub. Maybe they're all like this. Maybe I just never messed with them before. So I'm going to put it all back and then decide if I want to leave the axle sticking out, if I don't. There's a little ankle biter. Or if we want to cut and ground. This is chrome, so it'll leave a raw steel face. It's not as pretty. It might get a little rusty. It's not cool. It's not cool. But I do it all the time. A lot of vintage bikes have really thin dropouts. They have like stamped steel dropouts instead of like nice big thick forged dropouts. So even on quick release wheels, the axle will stick out way too far. It'll come all the way through, poke out through the dropout. Then when you try and put your quick release your nut on, it tightens down against the axle, not the dropout, so the wheel still falls in and out because it's tightened to itself. So you have to grind a couple millimeters of the axle off on both sides. You can't have the axle, on quick release at least, poke through, all the way through the dropout. So you just take it to the grinder and turn it on and go, bzz, bzz, bzz. Just take a couple of threads off until it no longer pokes through. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So now I'm going to put this all back together again, stick it on here. I can do that at any time. Try and convince myself again that I don't care. Don't go on crooked. You gotta go on straight, bub. Nice and easy. Never force it. These tiny little aluminum threads on these hubs. That would have went on crooked. You just fight. You just strip all the threads out. Wheel's dead. It's recycling. You need a whole new wheel. You can't fix those threads. Didn't quite get done in time yesterday. So bummed. So it's a busy Saturday today, but I got it done. Got the tires mounted. I got some new rim strips. I got some brand new tubes. They fit. Everything's gorgeous. Decided to go ahead and put these brakes on too. So this is in some ways the best option for brakes. These are the Tektro Long Reach 559s. Bro, they fit perfect, bottomed out in the front. On the back, they still touch the rim completely, but they're so high if the pads wear out, the pads could come in and touch the tire. I really want them to come down like a mil and a half on the back. At first it didn't look like they were in line up at all. It looked like it was gonna hit the tire like so high. Just figuring out, these are nice brakes. These are like 90 bucks new. I usually get like 50 for them used. I have them, the long ones, the nutted ones, which are way less common. That's what this bike needs, not the recess, but the ones with the actual nut on the back. So I got them on. If I use this back one, I'm definitely, this is slightly sketchy. You see this big slot that the brake pad slides up and down in? I will definitely take a file. This is 6-7 millimeters worth of metal down here. I might just file 1 or 2 down. I've seen guys cut the bottom of these off completely. I don't know why, those brakes never fail. It'll be fine, file a mil or 2 out. I wouldn't file more than that, really. That'll make these work. But oosh, this one really needs like 2 mils, the other one's like 1.5 mils. It's all on the metal, it's just all the way up on the metal. You need to see 1 millimeter or 2 of metal on the top. To see it, see swing in. As this style caliper brake swings in, they come up as they swing in, so it being as high as it can now, it's not good if someone wears the pads out. So I decided how nice I want this bike. At first I was freaking out, I'm like, I have to go buy brakes, but I said I'm going to build this all the parts bin. I don't know what to do. I had some alloy cheapy versions of these that Curtis bought that would be perfect for this. Now I regret selling them. I regret everything I sell, but I'm also so happy when someone buys stuff and gives me money. I just had a really cool guy named Noel show up. He saw me at like the swap meet, had some frame mods. He looked at my sister, the bike was built for my sister, the yellow one, and he said he wished he would have bought it at that swap meet. It's everything he wants. I'm like, dude, I built that for my sister. It's so cool. We could do one for you too. Let's find you a cool bike. He said maybe. He had me add some threads to a fork he got that was too long. And then he started looking at some of my parts, and he ended up buying like $200 worth of parts. And I was giving him like pretty low ball deals on most of it. It was still too much, and then I rounded down a little bit more to make him happy. We're up to like 260 or something. He's like, put a couple things back. I don't know. I'm like, let's just round down. You're trying to get to 2, right? He's like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Let's round down. So we did. So I'm happy. Sold some parts. He's happy. He got some good deals. And hopefully, a lot of guys I meet this way end up becoming friends for life and customers for life. They have cool bike projects and get to pay me to work on them. So it's a real win-win for me. So on this bike, this Chaton looks pretty good. Should we move on? Should I overhaul the headset? Should I start doing other stuff? Probably. Hope this video wasn't way too long. This is boring wheel stuff. I love boring wheel stuff, but I don't know if anyone else does. There is another option. This is a new in the bag, super low end, like kids bike BMX brake set. They're chrome steel. This has to weigh 5 pounds. It's so heavy. They're even longer, brand in the bag, got some horrible cable housings, got some horrible brake levers. You can see the chrome and the barrel adjusters. Bro, this is so heavy. This is so heavy. I want to know how heavy it is. Maybe I can hook this hole in the bag through this park scale. Ready? No, I don't believe it. It says like less than 2 pounds. There's no way. This is so heavy. 1 pound 13. I haven't been to the gym in a while, I guess. This seems so heavy. You are joking. Okay, I don't know. Great. Not even 2 pounds. I mean, it makes you feel better. Should I use this crazy, ugly, chrome steel kids bike Schwinn BMX thing? It's nutted. Pads are probably hard. I'll probably have to replace them. Apparently it's only like 1.5 pounds. I wonder what these guys weigh. Oh, now I got to know. Hey man. I gotta know. This is the exact same thing, Tektro 559s, nutted, but in black. They feel insanely light comparatively. Oh man. Grab these brakes. 13 ounces. Pound to 16 ounces. So this is, and the other brakes were 1 pound, 13 ounces. So they're a full pound heavier, more than double the weight of these nice long reach 559s. But do I care? These weird old heavy wheels? I don't know. I'm gonna give away my $50 brakes. I mean, I'm ahead. $5 in the frame, $30 in store trade for the wheels and tires. Tubes, I think I got at salvage sale, brand new in the unopened package. You know, probably $2 for those. Still on this bike pretty cheap. It's got a stem for free, I think will be good for it. I'm sure I have a cool cruiser bar. Sure, I'll probably use some Diacompi levers, or maybe I'll use the matchy Tektro levers for these. Another like $30. Probably use some Japanese cranks. Already said that. I'm gonna look around and play with some stuff. Let's try some stuff out and figure it out. This video is probably insanely long already. Only edited a part of it. So check back in the next episode and we'll see what we come up with. Still need to find a French top nut. I tell you what though, for being 40 years old, these Suzu Japanese sealed cartridge hub bearings, man, they still spin like brand new Suzu hubs. I put one of the very first videos I ever did was on my Instagram. I got some brand new Suzu sealed cartridge bearing hubs on super clearance from Mary Sales from Soma. And a friend was building like a pretty cheap mixty, trying to do all the mods and the parts as cheap as possible. Still make the bike look really cool. We put those hubs on, I gave that wheel a spin, and I swear to God, 10 minutes later it was still spinning. I was like, whoa, Phil would eat your heart out. This is nice. All right, thanks for watching.